Well, hey there, Chef Donna here, and welcome to Everyday Homemade. Everyday Homemade is designed to teach you the basics of cooking, all the while making something delicious and homemade for your family. Today, I am making a beef meatball with a Cajun cream sauce, and I am going to show you a secret twist to make the moistest meatballs ever. So let's go ahead and get started. As I am waiting for my oven to come up to heat, because I'm going to start the meatballs on top and then I'm going to transfer them into the oven to finish baking. But I'm going to saute up the onion and garlic. Now I mince the onion up pretty fine because I don't want it to be really prominent in my meatball. And I always saute it first just to kind of take that bite out of it. It kind of softens and mellows the flavor a little bit. So I'm going to do that first. I'm going to use a beef tallow. Now this is made from grass-fed beef, grass-fed cows, and it's a beef lard. You can also get it tallow from sheep lard. So it's a natural product, so I prefer to use that. So I'm going to go ahead and melt that in my pan and then get the onions sauteing. Pans come up to nice heat, so it's nice and warm. You can hear the sizzle. So that's about where I want it to be. It's softened a little bit, it's lightly brown. Throw in some salt and pepper. I push the onions off the heat. I'm just going to let them cool for a few minutes there. So I'm going to be adding in a tablespoon of Worcestershire, 1 egg, 3/4 a cup of breadcrumbs, and then I have about a tablespoon of Dijon mustard that I'm going to add in, and then maybe about 2 teaspoons of Cajun seasoning right in my meatballs. This is a one that I got at the grocery store. Really kind of like it. A couple teaspoons of that. All right, and then we have to add in our onions. I'm going to add them on the opposite side of the egg because I don't want the egg to start to cook when I add in the warm onions. And then I'm just going to kind of incorporate the onions into the beef to kind of cool them off a little bit more because the beef is cold. So that always just kind of works. It's a good little trick to use. And then I did mention that I had a secret twist in order to make meatballs super moist. And this goes for meatloaf too. So all you want to do is add in a splash of cold water. Just a little, just like that, a little bit of cold water. All right. So I always find that the best tools that you can use to mix anything is your hands. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all mixed up. I'm going to use a cookie scoop, and the reason why I use this is I want the meatballs to be all the same size, so then they cook evenly. If I had them all different size, some would be finished before the others. So I'm going to go ahead and get all my meatballs formed, and then we're going to pan fry them. Now that I have all the meatballs formed, I'm going to go ahead and add some more of the beef lard into my fry pan. So we're going to fry the meatballs up, and then I'm going to transfer them to that baking sheet. So as I put them in, I'm just going to roll them. And all I really want to do here is get some nice color on them. Brown them up a little bit. And this is also going to give us flavor for our cream sauce that we're going to make once the meatballs go into the oven. So my meatballs are nice and brown on a number of sides. I don't need them completely brown. So I'm going to go ahead and remove them and put them right onto this baking sheet. I'm going to add the baking sheet into the oven, and I'm going to let them cook for about 20 minutes. So here we go, right into the oven. Now I'm going to start on the cream sauce. So I like all the little bits I have in the pan there. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 2 tablespoons of butter. And then we're going to make a roux. Now a roux is an equal part of fat and flour. So I have 2 tablespoons of butter. So I am going to add 2 tablespoons of flour once the butter's melted. There we go. And I'm going to whisk it in. Now, in order to get your roux not to taste like flour, you have to cook it for like a minute or so. I have a half a cup of beef broth. I'm going to whisk this in and kind of scrape up all the little bits on the bottom of the pan here. That is all flavor that's going to go into our sauce. Look what a beautiful brown color it is. Now I'm going to add in 1 cup of heavy cream. I'm going to quickly season it with some salt and some fresh black pepper. Give that a good whisk. So my sauce is coming together very nicely. It's nice and creamy. It's a perfect consistency. So now all I'm going to do is just add some Cajun seasoning. Now you can add as much as you like, as much flavoring as you want. I'm going to put in about a tablespoon and then kind of give it a taste and see if it's like where I want it to be. Oh, and I got one of the little crunchy bits that just added so much flavor right in my mouth. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and we're going to wait for the meatballs to get out of the oven, and then we're going to toss them right in this sauce. All right, I'm going to get the meatballs out of the oven, and we're going to do a quick temperature check on them and just kind of see where we're at. We want the meatballs to be at 155 degrees. So I have my little thermometer here, and I'm going to do a quick check. Just want to make sure they're up to the correct temperature. We're there. So they were in there for about 15 minutes. That's all. When you bake them like this on a sheet pan, they're going to expel some liquid. So I always just let them sit for a few minutes to kind of soak all those juices back up into the meatball. So I'm going to let them rest, and then we're going to add them to our sauce. I am rewarming the sauce because I had set it aside for those 15 minutes while the meatballs cooked. So I'm going to go ahead and add them right back into our sauce and toss them around. The last thing I'm going to add is a fresh herb, and I have some fresh chives here, but you could also use like a parsley with this dish. It just kind of lightens up the cream. Cream sauces tend to be a little on the heavy side, and the fresh herb just gives it a little bit of a pop. So I'm going to go ahead and scoop some out and have a taste. All right, so I'm just going to get like a half a meatball. I just want to have a quick taste, and I'm going to save the rest for dinner tonight. My husband is going to be so excited. He just loves cream sauces, and he has no idea I'm making this today. So, yes, you can see the meatball is nice and soft. Oh, I can't wait to have a taste. It completely just melts right in your mouth. And then there's a nice seasoning of the Cajun in the cream sauce. And we put a little bit in the meatballs too, just to give it a little added oomph. Today, you learned a few things about making meatballs. And one thing is to always saute up the onion and garlic. This just takes out the little bite of the onion flavor, and it's not overpowering your meatball. And then I showed you 2 tricks on how to keep them nice and moist and tender. The first one is to add a little bit of oil to the mix. And then secondly, let them rest on the sheet pan before you put them into your sauce. If you enjoyed the video today, go ahead and like and subscribe. It's always free to subscribe. Go ahead and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And hit the notification bell to never miss an episode. Until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day and you keep it homemade every day. Bye, everyone.